And welcome back to College Football Tradition. That's Lucas Miller. That's Jacob Vandeford. I'm Bryan Partiga. We are here to do the previews of the FBS independent squads. We got UConn. We got Notre Dame, the only two independent teams left. So it should be a pretty short episode as we preview these two teams. We'll start off with the Irish. This is a team that last year finished 10-2 on the outside looking in of the playoff. This was a team that, really wanted to be in. They were in until the final moments, and then Miami jumped them at the last minute, rightfully so, because they had the head-to-head win. So this was a team that, lost two games early and was never able to recover. That schedule just wasn't very strong. But then going into this year, so many returning starters. So we're going to be talking about that, especially CJ Carr. What do you guys think about the Notre Dame returners going into this year as we preview the Irish?
You got it, Lucas.
Yeah, all right. So I mean, this is a team that obviously CJ Carr looks like he's gonna be one of the top, I mean, I guess you would say top three. A lot of people would say that he's probably the best quarterback in the nation coming into the season, but obviously I think the three of us probably are eyeing a couple different guys as well on that list. But yeah, looking back to the year that they had gone on to play the national championship against Ohio State, they're returning quite a few players from even that run and from last season. Jordan Faison is back, Jaden Greathouse is back. That's two players that were huge for them at wide receiver. Obviously, CJ Carr looks to be he looks to be the part. The one thing that I would wonder is, especially last season, well, honestly, especially the season that they went so far in the playoff, that their run game was just so great, and rightfully so. Both of those guys went, I believe, in the first round of the NFL draft. That would be Jeremiah Love and Price as well. So how can they fill in that production this season at running back? They do have Anais Williams, who is a junior on that roster, and then I believe they have a couple of freshmen and a sophomore in the rotation as well. So, I mean, obviously we know about the receiving core. We know that they have returners on the defensive side and the secondary. So my main question and concern for Notre Dame would be the run game, just to see how can they fill in the gap of literally two of the best running backs in college football the past 2 years. Um, Schedule wise, is that Wisconsin game neutral?
Yeah, it's at Green Bay. So it's kind of a home game for Wisconsin, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 50-50 crowd.
hmm
All right. Yeah, we'll have to get into their schedule a little bit more, but I just think in general, the way that Notre Dame's season usually looks is like they have to compete well against somebody in the ACC that is like a really good team. Last year we saw the head-to-head with Miami. Miami won. We talked about it in the podcast previewing the playoff last year that like we wanted Miami to get in. They did, went on to play in the national championship. So yeah, this year, I mean, for Notre Dame, you're gonna look at playing teams like North Carolina and Miami as like the games that you kind of really need to win. And like they obviously go to BYU, so like that's tough. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely a huge plus to have all these returners back. Jacob, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, just looking at their schedule, I think really the only games that they could lose would be at BYU and then Miami. We've seen talked about Miami. Darian Mensah, quarterback, Malachi Tony, wide receiver. Like they're returning a lot of production at Miami. So I think that could be a loss for Notre Dame. I think they could win at BYU with the amount of talent that they have returning, especially with CJ Carr getting a year under his belt. We really saw him take that next step as the year progressed. We saw him throw for 300 plus yards in several games back to back to back, multiple touchdowns. Again, like you said, Lucas, they did have two of the best running backs in the country. Both were drafted in the first round of the NFL draft, which I feel like is unheard of for one team to have two running backs being drafted in the first round. Um, So I am interested to see what they can do with that production, and replacing that. Anais Williams, like you mentioned, see what he can do there. Faison coming back as a wide receiver, I think will be a big help to them too. So yeah, I mean, I think overall Notre Dame is in great shape. They always have a great schedule. It seems like they always are winning a ton of games. But the big red flags for me on their schedule are at BYU and Miami.
I think one thing when you look at their schedules, they don't play USC. So I almost in a way, obviously this is not how it is, but I look at it like they replaced USC with BYU. But I mean, that's still a huge opponent to go and play a team that was so good in the Big 12 last year.
I think about
Yeah.
SMU too. Like, I mean, they're nothing to sneeze at either. Kevin Jennings is one of my favorite quarterbacks. So I mean, that's another team that could surprise some people with an upset against Notre Dame. So like, I mean, Notre Dame is one of those teams where like you'd think that they should win most of their games, but there's always a game at some point in their schedule that they slip up on. And everybody kind of goes crazy and they're like, oh, Notre Dame should not be in the playoff, all this kind of stuff. As we saw last year. So curious to see what that looks like for them this year.
Yeah, this is a schedule that, as far as Notre Dame's, this is egregious even for Notre Dame schedule standards. Like, I mean, Wisconsin in a down year on a neutral, you really only have four true road games because you pull Navy out of obviously a neutral site. That game's in Foxborough. But going up against Rice, Michigan State down, Purdue way down, North Carolina, we're going to know right off the bat when they travel to Dublin to play TCU what they look like. Stanford down. Like this team should easily start 6-0. And because of their high preseason ranking, they'll be 6-0 and ranked number one, two, three, or four in the country. But if the playoff ranking came out that early, I wouldn't have them that high because that's a nothing burger of a schedule. Obviously, we already gave them the wins for Rice and Navy as we did our American Conference preview show. But they travel to BYU, as you mentioned, Lucas, and I think that is probably the biggest game in Provo history. And BYU is coming off of, you know, 2 years where they're 23-4. So they are absolutely a team to watch out for, a team that returns Bear Bachmeier at quarterback. They return LJ Martin at running back. Like, that's a tough out. Um,
Yeah.
so I'm just looking at this schedule and I'm like, okay, chalk up Navy. Boston College lost their best player to Indiana. Um, Syracuse, of course, as well. Like, it's really a three-game season. It's BYU, it's Miami, and it's SMU. Obviously, don't mess up, like Jacob said, against some of those lesser opponents that you've been known to mess up against in the past. But those are your three toughest games, and they're not really that difficult. SMU was fringe top 25 last year. They did pull off the win against Miami, I believe. But you're talking about a fringe top 25 team, and then Miami and BYU. That's your schedule.
Mm.
I mean, here's my thought on Notre Dame. You pretty much need like a one loss, right? What do you guys think for them to get in the playoffs? Because two losses is pushing it, obviously, with
Yeah.
the strength of their schedule. So they're coming out and playing Wisconsin, a neutral site game, which obviously is like it's a big game. I think they win it. Your schedule within the Big Ten is Michigan State, who, like you said, is down, and then you go to Purdue and beat them by like 60. So then they get North Carolina in a great spot because you already are going to be able to figure them out within the first 4 weeks. Stanford, again, I think they would obviously beat them by a lot. So I don't really see them being ranked super high by the time they get to BYU because of the fact that like who are they playing within the first like 5, 6 weeks? Like that
Mhm.
I just think that if you're in a position like Notre Dame puts themselves in usually where you need to have one or two losses, but then it's just so hard because then you also look at their schedule. It's like, yeah, okay, they have two losses, but their best game is against Miami in week 10. So it's like it's so
Yeah.
hard to really predict where they're gonna go because like I don't know. I wouldn't want to see them ranked super high if they win 8 games and the best win in that time is at BYU. Like
Mhm.
Well, I think they'll be ranked pretty highly in the preseason poll, and then if they just keep winning, throughout until week 7 when they play BYU, they'll just retain their ranking because I mean the committee really can't move them down more than one or two pegs from their previous ranking if they're winning, and if they're winning handily, if they're winning by a margin that's like, by three against at Purdue, or by a touchdown at Michigan State at home, like that is not great, and they could be moved down. But I think like for me, they have to win either BYU or Miami. Like they can lose one of those games. I think they just need to win at least one because both of those teams are going to be ranked in the top 20 for sure. Miami's going to be ranked in the top 10, maybe even top 5 when they play them. So I think they have to win at least one of those games to retain their ranking. They can lose one, but the rest of their games, I think they have to win. I think one loss is probably going to be it for Notre Dame, just given their schedule.
I think the BYU game could possibly tell their whole season because you don't want to be in a position where you're playing Miami in week 10 to decide if you're going to be in the college football playoff or not. Like you're going to want to have a cushion by winning against BYU.
Yeah, you need to win one of your big games. That was what kept them out last year. Their two biggest games were Miami and Texas A&M, and I know they were both close, but they were both, losses, and all the rest were wins. But they were mostly against teams that didn't go bowling. I mean, it was a pathetic schedule. And although Notre Dame looked impressive, I thought they could have made a run in the playoff. Obviously, they could have if a team like Miami did, but there's you only have so many chances to prove it, and when you're not in a conference and no chance of playing in a conference championship game, that's one less metric as well. I think Notre Dame will be one of those teams that they will have the biggest disparity between their AP ranking and their first college football playoff ranking because they, I think, are going to be a top 5 preseason team. So if they beat BYU, and that's around the time the playoff rankings come out, they'll be a top 5 team by then in the AP. But I think the committee will look at it and be like, okay, we're going to put you at 11. Like, I just don't know what that's going to look like. But I think I 100% agree with you, Jacob, too, that you could lose one of BYU or Miami, but losing both and only having a win against SMU, unless SMU is like 11-1 and winning the ACC, like that's just going to be really tough to make an argument at 10-2. And I don't like saying stuff like that because obviously you got to see what the rest of college football plays out to be. Like maybe there are 3-9-3 teams that get in, but when I look at this, I'm like, woof, a 10-2 Notre Dame, you better have the goods. Like that's a
Mm.
toughie.
I think something that might hurt them is like last year they played Miami in like what week 0 or week 1. So it's like even though you lost that game, it still happened so early that they were able to hang around for so many weeks, like ranked so high. And this year it's like they don't have that huge like matchup going on until the BYU game. And like BYU could be bad by that point. You have no idea. So I don't think that this schedule really sets them up in that great a shape because you don't have your big game where you're center stage looking at with everyone looking at you until you play Miami. And that is that in November, week 10 or like
Yeah.
back end of October. So it's like they're waiting so long to actually finally be like under the microscope, like of like the committee and everything. It's I don't know. I don't think that that schedule really does a lot for them.
Yeah. It'll be really interesting to watch this team play out. Obviously, we talked about it. They have the talent, especially on offense. One of the best quarterbacks in the country, easily should be a Heisman finalist if things go the way we think they will, which is around that 11 win mark. So Notre Dame, team that everybody is high on going into this year. A team that maybe we were just high on last year was UConn. This is the other team that we'll preview before we close it out. Last year they were 9-3. All 3 losses came in overtime. All 3 of them. This was a team under quarterback Joe Fagnano, who he was just not turning the ball over. He was an efficiency machine until later in the year. I think he threw 1 or 2 picks, but he was just awesome. UConn looked great. They beat Duke, who won the ACC. That probably kept them out of the playoff, honestly. So I really loved this UConn team. And then going into this year, a much more manageable schedule than it was last year. But last year they finished 9-3. Jason Candle did leave for Colorado State. So you bring in, or sorry, Jim Mora left for Colorado State. You bring in Jason Candle from Toledo, and he brings in a couple transfers with him. What's our outlook on the Huskies going into this independent year?
Before you go, Jacob, you said a couple transfers. This says that they have 56 transfer players and 19 of them came along from Toledo. That
Really?
is
Okay, that makes
insane.
sense.
I have never read anything like that.
56?
56 transfers. They have 5 players on their roster that played a game last season for UConn.
Oh my gosh.
So basically, the Toledo Huskies is what we're hearing. The
They,
Yukon Rockets.
they have 13 guys who started last year.
Okay.
Many of them on Toledo, of course. More Toledo starters than UConn starters are coming
That
back
is
into this
so
UConn
insane.
game. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. We already gave them the loss at Temple for some reason. We, but just looking at this schedule, I mean, you got a couple ACC teams in North Carolina, Syracuse. You got Maryland from the Big Ten, Lafayette out of conference, out of FBS play. So look at the schedule, very manageable. Like, James Madison might be your toughest opponent looking at it.
Yeah,
Maybe.
you got North Carolina in there.
Yeah, depending on what they look like.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's our outlook on UConn for this year? What else do we like? They do bring in Flash Wilson, the Youngstown State wide receiver. He was one of my favorite Penguin players from last year. So he's going to be fun to watch. I think people are going to be really excited about him. He's someone who could sweep out of the backfield, like kind of like a shifty slot guy, like really talented wide receiver. Shifty, really lives up to his name as well. So I like him on UConn. Wish he would have stayed at YSU, but I understand. So he's one of their big time transfers coming in.
So Toledo last year looks like they were 8-5 in the MAC. Lost to Louisville in the Boca Raton Bowl. So I mean, understanding what Lucas is telling me that they're bringing in a lot of transfers from Toledo, I think we can bank on an 8-4 season for UConn.
Do you think that so when they go to play Miami, Ohio in week 4, is Miami, Ohio playing that like it's a Wednesday night MAC game because they're basically playing Toledo? Like,
I mean, yeah, like that's yeah. Should UConn just join the MAC? I mean, we could get away from the preview stuff. Should
Yeah.
Jays just be in the MAC?
Dude, honestly, like I think Maryland could be a loss. I think um North Carolina potentially, James Madison potentially, and potentially Syracuse,
I
and
mean,
we already gave them Temple. So I guess I mean, I could see them going 7-5 or 8-4 with the schedule, and the amount of like production that they're bringing that wasn't in at UConn before, getting to know like the area and the systems that are going to be run there and things like that. Like I don't know. I mean, I
at
think
Air
they could make a
Force,
bowl game.
yeah, at Air Force could be a tricky game too. I don't
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, it could get tricky for sure. That's a big game for Fran Brown, that Syracuse UConn game, because I think he needs to get back to a bowl game after a very, very disappointing
Do we have that?
2025.
Do we have him on the hot seat?
I think no, we had him on like you have to prove something, I think,
Show
probably.
me something. Yeah.
Yeah, show me something. Because remember, 10 wins 2 years ago when he had Kyle McCord. And then last year, just a complete dud. I think they had 2 wins. That was really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, I understand it's kind of getting late, but just to maybe like lengthen this episode a little bit, since it's just these two schedules, would you guys want to go through and like if we can agree on a win, put it as a win. If we agree on a loss, put it as a loss. And if it's like we have different opinion, make up another color for it or something?
I like it. Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
Okay. Are there any like surprise losses on this Notre Dame schedule, or can I just put them all as green until we get to BYU?
Yeah. Do
Okay.
that.
Yeah,
All
just put
right.
BYU as like I don't do like yellow or something maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Syracuse, it's interesting. UConn and Notre Dame, they both play Syracuse and they both play
Carolina.
North Carolina. Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, so really, looking at SMU, Miami, and BYU, I'm gonna do we feel comfortable giving Notre Dame the SMU win,
Yeah.
especially at home?
Yeah.
I
The
like that.
Miami one is the one I would say that I don't know yet.
I
I think yeah, I'll say right now, I think before their bye week at BYU is going to be tough because they've won all of these games. They won 6 games in a row. Like I think they're going to slip up in an away game, going to the mountains in Provo or and all this kind of stuff. Like I think that's going to be a loss for me personally. So you can put that like in a Jacob color or whatever. And then I
I
think,
kind of think it's a loss too. I mean, if we, I think it is
yeah,
too.
and I
'Cause
think Miami they'll bounce back. I think they'll beat Miami. I think that's Miami's only loss. Not even looking at their schedule.
yeah. Lucas, what do you think?
I just don't know what BYU is gonna look like by week 7. So it's like
Dude, LJ Martin and Bear Bachmeier, come on.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. If
That's my
BYU
duo
wins
right
that
there.
game, we're talking maybe a two-bid Big 12,
Yeah.
easily a top seven, top six team in BYU. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then looking at
the
UConn,
The Miami game being at home, I'll give them a win on that one, to be honest. So I don't, however you guys want to mark those.
yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, that's kind
Jacob
of where
said
I have it.
BYU is gonna win, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Put it as like a yellow or something like that because it's like neutral between all of us. Yeah, that's cool. All right.
yeah, yeah. I think you might be the only one on the Notre Dame side of this right now, Lucas.
For the BYU game,
Yeah,
I don't know because I could just see it like I don't I just don't I don't know. We gotta look back at this again once we get closer because it's like I just can't see them losing to BYU. Like it's such a weird matchup in my head, you know what I mean?
it is
I
odd.
also I also think Notre Dame could just like lose to a random team. Like I just don't think they're gonna go undefeated. Like they're
I
gonna
don't either. That's why I'm saying that I don't like, but I think that it's just so hard to not have them.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
the over under win total for the Irish is 11 and a half. It's the easiest money in sports, guys. Bet the under.
Yeah.
11 and 1 wins money on the under.
Northern Illinois, baby.
They lose to Wisconsin and Green Bay. That would save Luke Fickle's job, you telling me?
It would.
And then looking at UConn, I mean, I'm comfortable giving them a win like Southern Miss, and I'm comfortable giving them UMass.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure, some of the other ones. I think I would give them Old Dominion. I'd give them Wyoming if you
yeah.
guys
Yeah.
would.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm good with Wyoming, yeah.
Yeah. But then I think you get into, some gray areas with the other ones. I think Miami, Ohio could be tough. I lean UConn, but yeah,
I don't know. I think Maryland is a loss.
I think that's a loss.
I
That
think
one's
Syracuse and North Carolina are losses.
yeah. But we think this is a bowl team. That's good. I
Yeah.
think James Madison's probably a loss. Mm,
I'd give them wins for Miami, Ohio, and Air Force, honestly.
yeah, I think I would too.
Me personally, I don't know.
I
I
can
don't
see
know
them
why.
being
I just feel like I'm gonna end up seeing some graphic where Miami, Ohio ended up beating them. Like I just can see it now, but like I don't know.
Yeah. And
Like it's
Miami,
so
Ohio will be like undefeated and in the college football playoff.
yeah. I don't see them beating Air Force because they have to go all the way to Colorado to play Air Force, and that's a look ahead game because you have Bill Belichick in North Carolina coming into town the following week.
Yeah.
I don't like that game at all. So I feel like
so
that's
possibly no bowl game for UConn.
possibly, yeah, which would stink because I think that they would still be a decent team at 5-7. Be okay.
I mean, these are not, I mean, they could be one of those teams that they get thrown into a bowl game because, like, Notre Dame backed out of playing in one because they lost to BYU. So,
That's so true. Yeah, Notre Dame's like, you left us out at 11 and 1. Yeah, you lost to the Big 12 third place team.
didn't they back out last year?
Yeah, and that gave us the Georgia Tech something something Pop Tart Bowl, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you could have a 5-7 UConn get in there because somebody's mad they didn't make the playoff and backs out.
I think that's what happened to Rice last year, who
Yeah,
plays
yeah,
Notre Dame.
that's true.
Yeah, yeah, that was. Man, so really high on Notre Dame, and we think that UConn probably is a bowl team. In one way, shape, or form, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, but these two schedules really relate to each other. Yeah, that's funny. Oh man, so that's our independent preview. Hope you enjoyed this episode along with our other ones that we've been doing throughout the summer. We'll be sure to wrap up the group of six hopefully before the end of the month, and then we'll get into our Power Four conference previews: the ACC, the Big 12, the SEC, and of course the Big Bad 10. And of course, we'll get into our college football playoff predictions from there. Be sure to tweet at us, post about us, like talk crap about us. That's all
Yeah.
good. Like quote our tweets. Like, we love it. Agree with us, disagree with us, whatever it takes to get the word out there. But anything else before we wrap up this episode, guys?
No.
So.
Nice. Awesome. Good late night, guys. All right. For
Yep.
Lucas and for Jacob, I'm Brian Partika. This is College Football Tradition.